Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Bam, the Celtics just won first game of the NBA Finals, and this is Funny Like Clown Podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth, episode 152, June 2nd, 2022. Man, you know what? Without my intention, I guess we've been, we're getting to the point in the podcast, we're reviewing the history of comedy. We're getting to the point we've done a lot of comedians, but I reviewed every other comedian from the original Kings of Comedy tour, except for my personal favorite one, which no rhyme or reason. I like all the other ones too, but if I had to pick a favorite, it was this guy. So today we're going to end it off with who we should have started off with, but hey, we got to him, and that's what counts. Mr. Steve Harvey, a comic who can work clean, which is not easy to do in this business. I found dirty jokes funny, so that's kind of, not that I'm filthy, but I choose some off subjects and some strange stuff to talk about. With this guy, he works clean, and he can do it, I guess, without even trying, I guess you'd say. It's just it becomes his personality. It's who the guy is. And, when you're first watching him, I started thinking, yeah, that's silly, that's silly, that's silly. After a while, it's like, all right, this guy's like, your crazy dad or crazy uncle that everybody loves. You know what I'm saying? He's just that corny kind of funny where after a while it grows on you. Okay, you start to love the guy just for who he was. Okay, as always, I got to bring up this because this is some good stuff right here. Today's episode is brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. For the spicy, sweet, savory taste of game time, there's only one G Vegas. Put the whamma jam in your mouth. Go to www.gvegas.webs.com. Get some shipped right to your door, man. And yeah, G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. It's taking off, man. I'll tell you, it's going through the roof. We got some commercials coming. Gonna bring some local stars, some big stars, all kinds of stuff. Big campaign for G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. So get in, baby. Get in while it's young, okay? Because, man, you're not going to be able to touch this stuff in a couple of years. Everybody's going to be walking around going, whamma jamma, I got the G Vegas Buffalo Sauce. Do you have any? And then you're going to feel like silly if you don't have any. So get it now while you can get it, okay? Before it's off the shelves. All right, back to Steve Harvey, who I'm almost positive likes a good buffalo sauce, but I could be wrong. Let's see, known best for a host of the Steve Harvey Morning Show, Family Feud, of course, Celebrity Family Feud, the Miss Universe competition, Family Feud Africa, which I didn't even know existed until I prepared for this podcast. We'll get into that. And the Judge Steve Harvey Show. How did it all get started, man? Where this goes back to the roots, man. If you're from the inner urban city suburbs, man, this is the place you hope to get at because this is where a lot of people broke out in the suburbs. 1980s, he hosted Showtime at the Apollo, and the Apollo, man, that's one of the biggest venues for kicking out stars. The Steve Harvey Show on the WB featured, as we mentioned, the original Kings of Comedy tour. Let's see, he hosted Little Big Shots in Thunderdome, not the Thunderdome like Mad Max, but the Thunderdome. Okay, a little spin off of that. Why not? Let's see, had his own book, and I don't read much, but I know books are like such a big thing. People love to read, and I've just never been a big reader. I'd rather catch the movie, but I do. I got to put out a book someday about myself. Tell the story, all right? Leave your story behind. What's your legacy? I don't know. Let's see. His book, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, in 2009, spent 64 weeks on the best-selling list, and 23 of those weeks were at number one. So that goes to show you, man, there's money in books. People like to read. I may not be one of them, but people like to read. Let's see. Founded Steve Harvey Global Entertainment Company and the Harvey Foundation, which concentrates on youth education. So, like I said, it's always a good thing to give back. I do a lot of charity events when I do comedy because you got to give back. The crowds are nice enough to give to you and come out and see you. You got to give back, and it's just not even a thing. You should do. It's a responsibility. Okay, you got to give back, man. 6-time Daytime Emmy Award winner, 2-time Macaroni Award, which I thought that had something to do with macaroni and cheese, but I guess it was a guy whose last name was Macaroni, who was big into the hosting thing, where they named that after him, and it's a big award. 14-time NAACP Image Award, which he does. He has a squeaky clean image. It's like I think I did a roast once with a local comic who works like squeaky clean all the time, just all around nice guy. And I said, if Mr. Rogers and Pat Sajak had a love child, this guy would be him, because there's some guys that are just almost too clean. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to my opinion, anyway. Sometimes you just got to loosen up and have a good time. But yeah, man, if you want, like the clean guy, clean image for, say, corporation shows, that's where the big money's at. In corporate shows, but you got to work clean. That's the thing. Hey, here's why we do the podcast right here, because you learn things that you probably didn't know about these people exploring the history of comedy, which I never know. Steve Harvey, actually, as a kid, he had a severe, not a mild, but severe stuttering problem, which he eventually overcame. So, I mean, there's a story in itself, man. To come over a severe stuttering problem to become one of America's top hosts. That's really saying something about your life right there. And when you're a kid and you see all these big stars, you wish, wow, I wish I could be like that. I wish I could be like that. Well, there's no reason you can't, because they started out everyday people like us. Here's the proof. What did Steve Harvey do when he was young? He was a boxer. He was an auto worker. He was an insurance salesman. He was a carpet cleaner, and he was a mail carrier. So that just goes to show you can start anywhere and go on to be one of America's most beloved comedians. October 8th, 1985, he performed his first comedy show at Hillary's Comedy Club in Cleveland, Ohio. He was actually, he started doing comedy. He's homeless for 3 years, okay? He actually, he said that he slept in his 1976 Ford when he wasn't performing, and hey, let a comic sleep in your car, that becomes your home. And they say that, when you move out to LA, man, it's like it's costs so much to live out there, and you got no money. Comics, it's a labor of love, unless you're at the top of the game, you ain't getting paid much. You're lucky if you get gas money at that. And, a lot of comics, they make their car their home. And after, a year of this, they say, you know what, sleeping in a car ain't for me. I'm going to tuck tail and head home and live like a human being. Or the ones who stick it out and live like a dog in the gutter, those are the ones who go on to be the big stars and have the big success Steve Harvey did. So, you got to make the choice. Do you stick it out, or do you tuck tail and go home? And the ones who don't tuck tail and go home go on to be the legends. He said that when he was homeless, he showered at gas stations, which have, for truck drivers, they have like showers you can pay so much to use at gas stations. Or he went to swimming pool showers where, if you go to a public pool, they got showers where, they think you're there to swim and you're actually there to shower. So who knows? I guess his big break, it started out his legendary career. You got to start somewhere. He's a finalist in the second annual Johnny Walker National Comedy Search, which the recognition from that led to him, as we mentioned, hosting at the Apollo. And once you're in there, all kinds of good things can happen if you play things smart. The success that he had at the Apollo, being a regular host there, led to a very short-lived ABC sitcom, Me and the Boys. But being on that sitcom, you always get a second chance. I mean, not everybody hits it home with the first chance, but you do get a second chance. And if you don't hit a home with that one, you may never work again, but at least you get a couple of chances. You're not going to get one in this business, but usually if you're that big where you get your own sitcom, you'll get another shot. Led to the WB, the Steve Harvey Show, which ran from 1996 to 2022. So yeah, that many years on television, you hit home, but it had kind of an underground audience. It wasn't popular outside the African-American community. He found his home there, which was enough to keep him on the air, but it never turned into this big national hit where everybody was watching it. But kind of like the podcast, I got my underground community of people who listen, and I appreciate you guys so much. And, hopefully you're telling your friends, hey, if you like a comedian, man, check this guy out, because he'll tell you the history of him. So let's see. While he was on TV, he still continued touring. That was when he teamed up with Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hewley, and Bernie Mac, formed the original Kings of Comedy tour. And how popular was this? They made $18 million in the first year. And it wasn't to the point of, okay, after a year, we're sick of you guys, because the second year they made 19 million, $1 million more. So, hey, they wanted more. That's how good it was right there. Now, once you got, that much money, even if you get to split it 4 ways, you got a little bit of cash at this point. It was so popular, Spike Lee later made it into a film, the original Kings of Comedy film, which led to the Steve Harvey Morning Show on radio. It was the Radio 1 Incorporated that started out there, and it's now in syndication. It's with like major networks and stuff, going worldwide. Kind of like Funny Like Clown podcast. We're worldwide on the internet. Let's see. 2003, he started doing some movies. The Fighting Temptations, Love Don't Cost Anything, Johnson Family Vacation, You Got Served, Racing Stripes. Can't say any of those are huge hits, but I mean they were enough for enough that he kept it, kept in the game. He stayed in the game. They said that about Joan Rivers, okay? She was around so long, she had ups and downs in the career, but one thing, she never went away, man. She was a survivor. And this guy, he was a survivor, man. He, slept in his car, did what he had to do. He survived. I had a room like that locally, man, and I got to the point where, I wasn't making big money, but I mean, I was doing local comedy shows and I survived at it was a little bar and I was there, gosh, I think 6, 7 years where and everybody's telling me, oh, you should do this, you should do that. Here's how you should run the place. Meanwhile, they're opening up a room and it's lasted 2 weeks and folding. And finally I said that, hey, you may love me, you may hate me, but I survived, baby. And that's what you do. If you can survive in this business, then you're cut out for it. Not everybody's cut out for it. Put out a stand-up special, Don't Trip. He ain't through with me yet. 2008, hosted the Disney Dreamers Academy at Walt Disney World Resort. And let's see, 2010, the one I remember most from, he began hosting Family Feud. And Family Feud's been around for a while. I remember Louis Anderson hosted it. I mean, they've had so many hosts, going way back to the day. Richard Dawson way back in the day. But the show saw improved ratings under Steve Harvey, where it was getting better ratings than the previous host that he had. So this guy was bringing something extra. I think he finally hit that national audience where not just the African American community was liking him, but the entire community was liking him. You get on a show like that, you get national recognition, and they grow to love you, they grow to hate you, and they grow to love Steve Harvey, man. August 12th, 2012, he performed his last show in comedy after that many years of touring at the MGM in Las Vegas. I've been there, big old beautiful green building, and they got Brad Garrett's Comedy Club is there in the basement. That's one of the big jokes there. They put us in the basement, but yeah, man, I saw Carl LeBove there, man. It was a great weekend. We partied all weekend. It was fun being out there. After 27 years in the business, that was his last show that he chose to do it, and it was a 2-hour pay-per-view event that he decided to do his last show because, hey, everybody's going to tune you in for your last show. You might as well make some money. That's what it's all about, right? Let's see. Same year he launched the syndicated radio show. Got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 2015, he hosted the Miss Universe pageant in Las Vegas. And I remember this one was all over the news. He mistakenly read off the card. He read the wrong winner. The runner-up he said was the winner, and she was the runner-up. And they actually crowned her, put the crown on her head. And the minutes later, they explained that he made a mistake, and he had to go out. And the crowd was like, "Oh, please don't go." Like, it was a mistake, honest mistake. And he apologized to the contestants after the show, and next day on Twitter, he publicly apologized for doing it. But it was one of the all-time blunders. I mean, this woman thought she won. She's so happy. Then a couple minutes later, oh, you got to give a crown to the other girl. She actually won. It's like, what is that, man? I mean, bad publicity, but it happens. And all you can do is apologize. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but we're not all in the spotlight like Steve Harvey is. Well, we make a mistake, a few people notice. When Steve Harvey makes a mistake, half of America notices. But it's tough, to 100% of the time make 100% of the right moves when you're constantly in the spotlight and the media is tracking every move you make. It's tough to do that. But 2016, he did 2 revival shows at the Apollo for Fox Television. And 2017, he launched Sand and Soul Festival, where it's music and comedy and just a big festival that they do. His wife's a big part of that, where they have the music, they have the comedy, then they have a question and answer with Steve Harvey and his wife. So anything you want to know about that. Also launched Harvey Events, which his daughter's a big part of, and runs a lot of events through Harvey Events. Again, giving back, because you got to give back to, someone brought Steve Harvey up when he was a young comic. Now it's up to him to bring somebody else up. Well, he's a veteran comic. That's the way it works. 2017, he started hosting the New Year's Eve special from Times Square on Fox TV. And I remember, what was his name? Dick Clark did that for years. I remember from Times Square. So, um, 2018, he was host of the NFL Honors, the 8th and 9th annual. They had him back, so apparently they liked the job that he did. 2019 launched the learning hub called the Vault. In 2011, on his radio show, he called Cone West and Travis Smiley, Uncle Tom's, for criticizing their criticism of Barack Obama, which he caught a lot of heat for that one, man. And he later apologized for it. Again, you can say 99 beautiful things, and you say one hateful thing, and that's all you'll be remembered for, not the 99 beautiful. So you can't let one thing define who he was. But he made a mistake. He apologized. We all made mistakes. Let's see. 2017, he met some criticism for meeting with Donald Trump, but he said it was going to help spark positive change. And if you want change, president's a good place to start. Whether you support him or you don't, that's the guy who's going to help you make some change if you want to make some in the world. So remember, Toby Keith, he caught some heat because they couldn't find nobody to sing his inauguration. Finally, Toby Keith said he'd do it, and he caught some heat too. But whoever gets in there, you got to respect the office. That's what I say. Respect the office. And Steve Harvey, he respected the office. Outspoken on some major things like COVID-19 and the George Floyd protests. All right, I think it's the podcast that sneezed because I'm in a new studio, and damn it, I thought it was the old one, but maybe it's just the podcast making me sneeze. Who knows? Let's see. 2017 made some controversial jokes about Asian men, saying Asian men, yeah, no thank you. Who would want an Asian man? Saying like women wouldn't be interested in Asian men. He's like, I don't even like Chinese food, which is a joke. And we're in that friggin' society where nobody can take a joke anymore. Okay, I don't like Chinese food. There's worse things you can say about an Asian people than I don't like their food. But again, he had to apologize for that one because nobody can take a fucking joke anymore. You got to apologize for everything you do. See, now when you're a dirty comic and you say something like that, you just say, yeah, I said it. It was funny. If you don't like it, fuck you. And when you're a clean comic, you want the corporate gigs and the big money. Now you got to apologize, even if you think you're right. It don't matter because you can't piss off of half of America, who's your base. Other than Chinese people, he made fun of the Flint, Michigan water crisis, where that was where they messed up their water situation out there. Caller came in and insulted the Cleveland Cavaliers after they lost to Golden State, and Steve Harvey's response was, "Hey, why don't you go have a nice glass of brown water?" Which, isn't funny. People out there, they got no water to shower, they got no water to drink, and it's just not a funny subject. But when you're a guy and you're into sports like I am, I mean, let it off. I'm a big Celtics fan. I'm gonna lie. They won first game of the finals. I mean, when you're from Boston, you break balls of people. Golden State, yeah, everybody, they had experience. The Celtics can't hang with them. Well, you played the game and you lost, so we're going to break some balls to Golden State. So, I can see, breaking balls on the Cavaliers. And Steve Harvey, it's a comedy show. His job is to make a joke about it. So, made a joke about the brown water. Again, we had to apologize for that one. But for the few mild jokes that he's done so much good for the world. Founder of the Steve and Marjorie Foundation, Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation, which hosts a camp for fatherless children. And I am big into a child's right to both parents equally. So I'm like really down with that because if you got no dad, that's not a cool thing. Kids need both their parents. And, if you got no dad, then you can go out to a camp and, be together with some other fatherless children and you can bond, man. That's what it's all about. Helping, giving back. That's a cool thing. The guy's so popular at this point. I mean, he's got so much money and so much in the business that, brought his family in the business. They're all working for him. It's he divides his time. Now imagine, having this. I mean, you think your schedule's busy. He has to divide his time between Atlanta, Georgia, where he's got his radio show, Chicago, where he's got his talk show, and LA, where he does Family Feud. So I guess this guy's living part of the year in all kinds of different locations. And that's a lot of plane flights. And, I guess I booked Jimmy Walker from, Dynamite from Good Times one time. And I was like, don't you get sick of living out of a hotel room, being on a plane all the time? He's like, after a while, it's just the way of life. You get used to it, I mean, to you, it seems strange because you don't do it. If you did it every day, it's just, hey, your daily routine. And that's what it is. And hey, probably the coolest thing I like about Steve Harvey, he attributes all his success to God because, I said before, God puts you in a situation where you're able to help people out. He didn't do it by mistake. That's why you're, as I said earlier, obligated to help people out. So he thanks God for his success, and his thank you to God is trying to give back by doing stuff like giving, fatherless children camps to go to and, places for people to learn and all kinds of good stuff. So, hey, if you guys buy some G Vegas Buffalo sauce, then damn it, I'm going to have some money to do some good in this world, and I'll be giving back too. And, I was a big proponent of father's rights and a child's rights more than a father's rights to both parents equally. And the Johnny Depp trial, man, I tell you, they just struck a big one this week. And thank God for that. That they showed that women can be abusers also, not just men. So, hey, thank you, Johnny Depp, for bringing that to light. And someday we're going to give kids back mom and dad equally. Okay, not visitors, not part-time partners, but dads, okay, and moms too, because moms get screwed in court just as much as dads, okay. And we need to get the money out of the situation and worry about more of our kids than we do profit. And once we do that, the world will be a better place. So if you buy some G Vegas Buffalo sauce, damn it, that'll give me some money to spread more awareness that kids need both parents equally, just like Steve Harvey's doing. And thank you to him and thank you to God because he's given us both a cause in life to fight for. So, hey, I give you a cause. Go out, tell some of your friends. Tune in, Funny on the Com podcast. We're exploring the history of comedy. You want to know about your favorite comedian? Damn it, you tune me in, and I got a podcast for you. Until next time, keep laughing because that's doing some good in the world. Good night.